Good evening, mi gente. This is Ray Collazo, and you're watching and listening to the Founding Translation Talk Show, the talk show that stacks truth about politics and today's hottest issues. Thank you so much for joining us. And I know y'all are thinking, especially my Philly people, my Texans, say, Ray, you're really going to, first of all, you're going to spring this up on us. You don't put any promotional images out or anything like that. Y también, bro, right before the Eagle Cowboy game, you're going to start. Let me tell you something, y'all. I don't got that MSNBC contract yet. I don't have a, media company funding my one of the best political and variety talk shows in the business. I stand with my squad with anybody. I got to squeeze this in when I can. And by the way, I'm also doing the work. My squad has made over 200,000 phone calls to Latinos of Pennsylvania. So we've been a little busy, and this is the only time I can squeeze it into my schedule. But I think it's very important before this all goes down on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Before this all goes down, I had to give you a little something. I had to. Because this is it, fam. This is it, fam. So on this episode of Founding Translation, again, sort of the pre-Eagle Cowboy edition, Ben DiNucci, Eagles are going to smash them. I wanted to give y'all real quick 3 things. One, I want to talk to my people, my activists, my progressives, my Biden supporters that, are approaching Tuesday with wanting to believe this is the light at the end of the tunnel, but also dreading this, that this nightmare may continue for us. I also want to give a minute to Trump supporters. I want to talk to y'all about, not to try to convince you anything. That's done. Y'all going to do what you're going to do. And the bottom line is y'all are grown adults. You can do what you want, but I do want to drop something on y'all to think about after this election. And then I'm going to get my Steve Kornacki on. I actually have an electoral map, and I want to give y'all some analysis so y'all know, okay, what's going on here? These states, electoral college is very confusing. So I'm going to give y'all a little analysis so y'all feel a little more equipped to be able to understand what's going on television Tuesday night going into Wednesday morning. And when some of the votes, hopefully it won't come to it, but when some of the votes end up getting finalized and we get some more final results, probably Thursday, Friday. Hopefully it doesn't come to that, but there's a good chance it will. Again, thank you so much for joining the show. Really appreciate it. And so the first thing I want to talk about, I want to talk to my people. I want to talk to my people, my activists, my ride or dies, the people that have basically felt they've been living in a nightmare for 4 years. I want to be able to say, it's like a dad, right? I'm a dad. I want to tell my kids, everything's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. And oftentimes you kind of get away with that. But the reality is, fam, I don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen. Trump don't know what's going to happen. All these analysts don't know what's going to happen. I mean, in a fair fight, Biden would probably be fine. But the reality is, it ain't a fair fight. Partially because of just these external, these factors with early voting and these ballots, and partially, and also because they're trying to steal this jaunt. Let's keep it real. And there's myriad of court cases, none of which on the Republican side, not one to help people vote. It's all about making it harder. So if you have 300 court cases to try to make it more difficult for Americans to vote, people that are eligible to vote, people that just want to have some options in the middle of a global health pandemic, it's a problem. By the way, there's only one state that's in the how would you say, the swing purple category at all, which is a long shot for the Republicans in Nevada, that mailed everybody out a ballot. So that argument is actually very weak. All those states basically had to ask for it, which is basically what he said was fine. So, these arguments are vapid. And if anything, you see these long lines, mostly in Black communities, people trying to vote early or trying to drop out their ballots. This is systematic racism, and voter suppression is almost a nice way of saying it. So we have to overcome those things. So these factors, I don't know. An unprecedented amount of voters, I would think that's a good thing for us. Almost 1 million people have already voted. That's actually a beautiful thing if you think about it. That people from, regardless how you feel, you're engaged in this election. So there are some rays of light here, if you will. But I want to tell you something, y'all. I can't take the anxiety away from you because I have it too. Hey, in this time period, I'm going to keep it real. I've had 2 health issues, spells in the last 6 months. And partially the pandemic, of course, or partially stressing about this whole situation. Be honest about it. I care because I know what's happening and how much these people can continue to hurt all of us on some level, as they do with their no importa about a pandemic that kills 1,000 people, Americans a day. But the thing I can tell you is that these next 48 hours are the most important 48 hours of the last 4 years. Because who's voted is voted. Can't do nothing about that. And that's probably generally positive for us, that situation. But in the next 48 hours, instead of focusing on what could happen, what may happen, what if the guy wins, oh my God, what if they cheat? The next 2 days of your life, what you need to do to get that stress off you is focus on what you can do. Because some of these things we cannot control at the end of the day. We'll try, we'll protest, we'll do what we can. But focus on what you can do over the next 2 days. And y'all can text every member of your family. You can call your people, be like, hey, Prima, my little 19-year-old cousin at community college, I just want to make sure you got everything you need to go vote. Did you already go vote? Do you need someone to go with you on Tuesday so you don't feel nervous? Call Abuela. Abuela, do you need a ride Tuesday? Call your homie. Dog, did you hand that joint in? I've been bugging you about this. You know, you can go drop it off at center so you don't have to worry about it for Tuesday. I know you're working a double on Tuesday. That's critically important. If you get 2-3 extra votes out of that, and if we all do that, especially our Pennsylvanians and people in these critical states, that can make a huge difference. And it's going to make you feel better. And by the way, it's going to get your mind off worrying about it. You can focus on doing the work to make yourself feel like, hey, win or lose, I did everything I could. And then on election day, I'm assuming my people, a lot of y'all have already voted through whatever mechanisms. God bless you. Thank you so much for doing that. But I'm telling y'all, it goes beyond making a plan. It is about there's 2 plans you got to make. Even if you voted, one, everyone's got to help somebody go vote Tuesday. We have called pretty much every Latino in Philadelphia and the 5 suburban area. That's been our focus with our work. And if you're above 50 and you're Latino, you're going to go vote Tuesday. They didn't want to mess around with them ballots and the mail and the proceso and the language. And what if I get it? It don't work out for me. I don't got it. So the good news is a lot of our people, it's an opportunity, still have to vote. You have to make a plan. I ask all of you, make a plan to help at least somebody vote Tuesday, even if it's just keeping them company in line. And by the way, we won't need that because there's going to be people out here trying to intimidate us. And you're not going to want your little cousin or your grandma sitting in line because, mira, the people look like us, one's going to get targeted. Let's keep it real. Even if it's about keeping company, give them a ride. Go. If you think some people are going to be in line in your neighborhood, go by and grab a pizza. Make them feel comfortable. Grab a couple chairs that you use for the barbecue. Say, mira, you guys want to use these chairs while you're sitting there for an hour voting? Do something. Make a plan to help people on election day. And if you can't physically do it, call those same people you got. Hey, did you go vote? I'm going to keep bugging you until you do this. That's the attitude. Keep your mind focused on what we can do in the next 48 hours because the next 48 hours is the most critical time in this entire election. Trust me. Political professionals will tell you these 3-4 days when everyone's kind of thinking it's the end, it's actually the most critical time because still a third of the country hasn't voted yet. Okay. And win or lose, we still got to keep fighting. So obviously we're all going to take a breath after this on some level. And I want everyone to feel, to mentally get a minute, but whether Trump wins, Trump loses, we win the Senate, we don't win the Senate, there's a contested situation, there isn't a contested situation, we're going to have to regenerate and continue this movement because even if Biden wins, maybe the Democrats don't win the Senate, or even if they win the Senate narrowly, 50-50, 51-49, we're going to have to fight to get our issues on the table because there's going to be a lot of pressure on Biden to be very middle of the road. And already talking about the morning shows, basically, he's got to be the president for the white moderate people. That's what they're going to push because they're going to argue, well, we're the ones that elected you because look at these numbers. And, the upper north states, however way you slice it, 85% white. So that's and I'm not saying it's really racial. It's about, hey, let's get real things done. When it comes to economic development, when it comes to trying to bring some people together, try to deal with this racial situation because, to Biden's point, he has a point. If we don't get the police and the community together, trying to work this out and having a conversation, the dialogue, it's not going to move because we're just going to keep arguing with each other and build that animosity. So there is a path for Biden's style to be effective, but we're going to have to continue to advocate so that he gets it moving and doesn't try to play it too safe. You listen to Ray Collazo here in Found Translation, just giving y'all my analysis. Want to give some comfort, want to give some words of advice for my fellow activists on the more progressive side of life, or at least Democratic Party politics side of life, that, are feeling this incredible stretch. And I want people to understand that, these next 2 days are critically important. And to get your mind off the worry, just do all you can, because all you can do is what you can control. The rest of it is in other hands on some level. What I want to do now, actually, is play a clip, break it up here. I want to play some amazing music. For those that didn't see it, Fabiola Mendez is an incredible young Puerto Rican woman, cuatrista, the seminal instrument in Puerto Rican traditional folkloric music. She is the first person to ever graduate from the prestigious, if y'all don't know about music, fam, the Berklee College of Music in Boston is one of the greatest music universities in the world. She's the first person to ever graduate from that university with by playing the cuatro. So I want to play a clip of her recent appearance on Found in Translation Bomba Live simulcast. Then we'll come back and have a couple words, conversation with my Trump supporters. Thank you all so much, and I'll be back in a second after this incredible performance by Fabiola Mendez.
A escuchar, pero yo sí me encontré con un pajarito pequeño que mientras iba en busca el sol se topó conmigo y a mi oído cantó esta simple melodía, pero yo sí me encontré con un pajarito pequeño que mientras iba en busca el sol se topó conmigo y a mi oído cantó esta simple melodía.
I tell you, that Fabiola Mendez is unbelievable. Follow Fabiola Mendez on social media. She has a virtual concert. She's based in Boston. And she does a lot of she does things with the cuatro musically that we've never seen. She combines it with Brazilian rhythms, jazz, R&B, gospel, salsa, a tremendous talent. And we're going to continue to support people like Fabiola Mendez here on Found in Translation and our other brand, Bomba Live. And again, you're listening to Ray Collazo. Hey, I know the Eagles are going to smoke these guys. And I know folks are probably a little distracted. You'll see it on the replay. It's okay if you want to watch the game. But I want to, as I kind of just give my final thoughts and analysis of this election, I just wanted to chat with my Trump supporters for a second. I'm not going to fight with you. At the end of the day, you're grown people. You make your own decisions. At the end of the day, some of them may frustrate me. Some of your reasoning may aggravate me. But I got to respect it. Y'all grown people. But I did want to mention two things to you. So to those folks, I want you to think about, I want to share what the reality is of the decision. You can have your reasons for making the decision, and I respect it. But the reality, the practical reality of this decision. So a lot of our folks, and a decent amount in the Latino community, are arguing, look, at the end of the day, regardless of anything, Trump's better for the economy because he's a business guy. I will remind you, and again, I just state facts here. He owes at least $400 million to people we don't know who they are. Owing $400 million don't sound like a great business person to me, but whatever. And also, again, facts. He had 2 casinos that went bankrupt. And for those, again, I think all of us adults, especially you business tycoons out there that are supporting Trump, would understand that possibly the easiest business model that exists in our modern economy, in our modern world, is a casino. You open the doors, people put money in machines and on tables, and you keep 90% of it. So if your big business guy was so hot to try it on business, maybe he could have made casinos work. But anyway, I'll put that aside. For those, again, who are concerned about business, what is going to revitalize our economy and move our business forward in this country? At the end of the day, it's nothing less than dealing with the pandemic. And I'm going to tell you this right now. And look, I make predictions on here. I'm pretty good because I keep it real. And again, I'm not a Biden shill. I've been very hard on this guy. So this isn't about, waving a blue flag. Y'all watch the show if you don't believe me. We're more critical of Democrats than a lot of people would suspect if you got to watch the show to understand it. This ain't about Biden right now. This is about y'all Trump. It's y'all guy. The reality is in a year, we'll be in the same position. That's the reality because he's already said he's not going to do anything and it's going to continue to spread. By the way, the spread is as high as it's ever been after 9 months. So that means in 3-4 months, it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger because he's not going to do anything about it. He already said, I can't control it. Let it just spread. Herd immunity. So it'll be another year. We'll roughly be in the same position. Another 300,000-400,000 people will die. I don't know if you business tycoons care about that, but that's going to happen. That will happen because all the projections have been correct, accurate. And even if there is a vaccine, probably in the spring, early summer, even Trump supporters don't trust it because he's the one saying it's good. So a lot of people won't take it. And by the way, I don't care who you are. It's a tremendous management project to distribute a vaccine in this country that's not only safe, but that's distributed equitably and relatively quickly at a large scale. I don't care. You're the most brilliant manager of all time. And what in this man's 4 years would make you believe that he could manage any project like that? He creates more problems than he tries to resolve. Again, the pandemic, couldn't do it. Ran away like a coward to the problem. But that's your economic guy. To my social conservatives, who basically are one-issue voters, the issue of abortion. Mira, on a spiritual level, there is much more spiritual alignment here. This is not a spiritual disagreement, my friends. This is a policy disagreement about the rights of women in our society as it comes out. So I try to bring this up in these conversations, the hard conversations to have, because I'm trying to build some understanding here. And to my folks that are like, look, nothing else matters to me but that issue. Again, I respect. I'm not going to try to change your mind. I'm not going to sit here, and I certainly am not going to disrespect that opinion. I respect you and your views on that situation. And again, spiritually, we're more in alignment. There's a policy disagreement. But I want to share something with you. First of all, if you don't get it now, after Amy Coney Barrett, who's more conservative on social issues than the Pope, literally, if you don't get Roe versus Wade overturned now, then it's never going to happen. So you really shouldn't even vote on this issue Tuesday because you've already won the issue on some level. If it doesn't get overturned now, that means the Republicans just string you along on this issue. Just being honest about it. So there's a good chance you're going to get your way anyway. But the other part of it is, I just want you to think about the policy legal ramifications if Roe versus Wade changes. And again, this still may be cool with you. I just want to understand what the legal and policy ramifications is of what that happened. So if Roe versus Wade gets turned over and states now start criminalizing women for having illegal abortions, I just want to be straight up with y'all. And again, this is not to be confrontational. This is about helping you think through what are the next steps in that legal policy discussion. So women in our community, because y'all know for real, the people that will go to jail will be the Black and Latinas and the real poor white women. You know that, right? Like upper class white women are not going to go to jail for this. That's just reality. So when women from our community, maybe part of your church, maybe part of your family network, neighbors, start getting prosecuted for having these abortions, where will your role be? Will you be part of GoFundMe's for their legal bills? Will you be character witness for them to ask mercy from the judge? Because maybe this woman has children or an illness or, maybe conditions that maybe led her to make a very difficult decision that maybe, she didn't want to, but it's a hard decision one way or another, right? When she gets incarcerated, when she gets her 3 to 5 years or whatever right? Will you be part of as part of your faith? Will you be part of helping try to take care of her kids? Helping the family go 5 hours upstate to go see her? Or will you just say, look, you broke the rules. Sorry. So again, the choice is yours. And I'm not here to fight you about it. I just want you to understand the policy ramifications of what I believe, which is your sincere spiritual belief. But there is a difference. And that's all I'm trying to say. But again, fam, you have right to your opinions. And I respect. And I respect my econ people. I tease them more because I think their heads about their business acumen is a little inflated. And I don't think they're really seeing the whole situation. But I respect. Okay? And look, in the Latino community, 25% or so, well, nationally, probably close to 30% of Latino voters will go for Trump. That number's inflated because of the Cubans in Florida and maybe some other conservative pockets. Generally speaking, in Pennsylvania, it'll be between 72 to 75 for Biden and 25 to 28 for Trump, which, if he gets to 30, that could be the difference. So GOTV from a Biden Democratic perspective is critical. Those are my thoughts on those issues for both my Biden and Trump folks. What I want to do now is play a clip. This brother was one of the most popular people we have in social media. It was a great coup that we had him on the show. Drew Anthony, if you don't know his name, he's the real good-looking guy that does the reggaeton 2000s car videos, the bachata and the 90s car videos. Y'all love him. He brings a lot of joy. I posted this clip early in our social media. And I want to give a shout out to Shirley Santos, one of our producers of the show. It's actually her birthday today, and she's the one that booked Drew Anthony to appear on the program. So let's hear a clip from Drew Anthony talking about his process and his and how he comes up with these incredible videos and what the creative process was when he got delved into doing reggaeton from the 2000s viral video. Then I'll come back and I'll get my Steve Kornacki on, give you a little taste of the big board that you're going to be analyzing on Tuesday. But talk about when you thought about, all right, I got to do something for the Latino community and do something that really connects with reggaeton from the 2000s.
I've always wanted to do something. I always want to do something that represents, hands down, always, with everything I do, honestly. With the reggaeton I was really afraid when I did this one because the Latino community, you get it right. You get it right or you don't do it at all.
Yeah.
That was the second time I did it. The first time I was like, this isn't enough songs. There's more. This isn't enough songs. So I went in my car and I started driving around and I just went down the list of just everything I can possibly remember. Evie Queen, DY, all the artists that I can remember back in my days in New York and the house parties and cutting school.
Watching. Give me a couple of nightclubs you used to hang out in back in the day.
Jimmy Bronx Cafe, number
Jimmy's
one.
Bronx. No question. Jimmy's Bronx in the house. Always love the New York party references. Thank you, Drew Anthony, for, being a big baller coming on the show. And, you continue to entertain us with your videos. I want to now, before I get into the big board, I want to share a little something. Personal stuff. When I was a little kid, I wanted to be an astronaut. And I had the pictures teed up and I didn't download them. And I actually had an uncle who's maybe watching now in Tampa, Florida. Rene Gonzalez, that actually from Un Jibarito from the Campo and PR was actually a intern at one of the NASA center in Houston. So he would send me all these cool pictures of spaceships and actually sent me an autographed picture when I was a kid of the first Latino astronaut, Franklin Chan Diaz, a Costa Rican guy. Un tico, his daughter is a elected official in Massachusetts, Sonia Chan Diaz. And so anyway, it was when I was 6, 7 years old, Franklin was my hero. And I got older, got into baseball. And I always loved second baseman, Manny Trio, Juan Samuel. Of course, then some of the great Puerto Rican guys stepped into the stage. Roberto Alomar, Carlos Baerga. Now the young boys like Javi Baez, the Lou Whitakers, the list goes on and on. And then when I started liking girls and stuff, a teenager, the guy I wanted to be like was George Lamont. And I had the nice picture teed up. The guy had this he could do something with his hair. He had this way he could style it. And he had these leather jackets. I just thought the guy was the coolest guy. But as I've gotten older, my heroes have adjusted a little bit. And so the guy that I currently admire, especially with my media stuff, and I've been on MSNBC, y'all. I've done my damn thing on the top level. Y'all didn't see that in February. Recognize is my fellow Peacock guy, I guess, Steve Kornacki. The guy, the nerdy white guy that's in front of the big board with all the states and the colors and the red and the blue. That's my dream job, to do that. So what I'm going to do here, y'all, give you a little taste of my analysis of what's going to go down Tuesday. And so it's very complicated. So let me get the big board up here. Let's get it up here, fam. It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Let's get the big board up here. Want that interlude. Let's see if we can get my big board here, which is what I wanted to do. I wanted to just give y'all a sense of the map. We talked earlier about, my thoughts for my, our leadership group. Gave a little something, a few moments for our Trump supporters, which again, you have your right to be. Not going to fight you on it. All right, y'all. Let's try this again. Let's kind of get the big board up here. Try to get the big board up here. As all these gremlins are fighting here to try to get my attention to my computer. For those in Pennsylvania, in particular, please reach out to your family and friends tomorrow. If they still have a ballot at home, they have not dropped off, they can go to, there's all kind of voting centers throughout the Philadelphia and throughout the state that they can go to drop off their ballots. They don't have to deal with it on election day. That'll make things very complicated, my friends. So they don't want to do that. They don't want to have to deal with dropping that ballot off on election day. If you're in North Philly, Munoz Marin School, Mastbaum High School, Temple University, George Washington High School, Feltonville Library, there's a drop-off center. They're all over the place, fam. So please educate your people. Go to pavotes.com and let your people know. Get them the list so they can drop off their ballots. Let's try to get this going here. See if I can get this to work. All right. All right, friends. This is the map. This is what I wanted to show you. Get my Steve Kornacki on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with this was the map the last time. Okay, try to make it a little bigger. I know it's a little small. So even though Trump lost the popular vote by 2.5 million votes, he'll lose the popular vote Tuesday by 5 million plus, because he literally is not going to have any blowout victories in any big states. The biggest state he will have a clear victory in is Tennessee, which is a mid-sized state. So he's going to lose the popular vote big time. But if you look at this from even though he lost the popular vote last time, he sort of wanted to, I don't want to say a decisive victory, but, a clear victory from an electoral college perspective. And so it was like 306 to in the 230s for then candidate Hillary Clinton. So what you see a lot on TV, you hear a lot on TV, is this concept of the blue wall, or the old blue wall, which harkens back to the old labor movement of yesteryear. That basically Trump flipped in heavily white states that have a lot of white voters that his message was appealing. So I'm gonna just change those states on the map here to blue, so you can see why those states are so important. And again, you have to get 270. So I'm gonna change them to blue, just those 3 states: Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. And you see it flips right there. If nothing else changes on the map except those 3 states, Biden wins with 278. He's in the winner's circle. So that's why people focus so much on those 3 states. So now, let's see here. So now you're talking about a scenario where this seems easy enough, but if nothing else changes in those 3 states and Trump finds a way to win Pennsylvania, it flips over to 280 for Trump. So that's why, while all these things being equal, this is still a pretty precarious situation. So let's say, for example, he wins Pennsylvania. What are the other options? As my birds score in the background here. Well, the easiest way to take care of this, my friends, would be if Florida went to Biden. Florida goes to Biden, we can all go to sleep. And that's going to be one of the first states we're going to get word from in the night, because they actually have a culture of counting the votes promptly. So if for whatever reason, we pray to the heavens, if Biden could flip Florida, y'all can go to sleep well, because even again, as you can see, even he was to win Pennsylvania, hell, if he won Michigan in Pennsylvania, Biden still wins, all things being equal. So what do we got to look out for? And then another possibility could be, again, even if, what are the other options if Biden wins Florida? Well, of course, obviously, if Trump wins Pennsylvania, obviously Florida would be nice. But let's assume he wins a squeaker, as is anticipated. 2 southern states with large black populations, which are getting closer. By one, which the one I think I'm actually the most optimistic about, fam, North Carolina. 15 electoral votes. 15 electoral votes. Large black population, growing Latino population. By the way, 100,000 Puerto Ricans have moved to North Carolina just since Hurricane Maria. So that doesn't include the Puerto Ricans that live there. And that doesn't include all the other Latinos. Shout out to this young man, Ricky Hurtado, is running to be the first Latino state rep in North Carolina this cycle. So North Carolina, Trump only won it by 3 percentage points the last time. Since then, they've elected a Democratic governor. The Democratic Senate candidate, who's a mess, he keeps sexing his girlfriends, is in the lead in the polls. So again, that's another pathway for Biden. And again, that's one that's going to be called pretty early. That's when we actually know tomorrow, Tuesday night. So Florida, North Carolina, we get one of those two, you can feel better, because look, even in this scenario, Trump wins Pennsylvania and Florida, but loses the other Midwest states in North Carolina, we squeak it out. Another possibility, my friends, is Arizona. 11 electoral votes. So again, even if we lose Pennsylvania, we can find 1 or 2 other states in the southern areas to pick off. Biden's in the driver's seat. So the bottom line is, from a Latino perspective, let me get back up here. Okay. From a Latino perspective, we can decide some of this. Of course, Florida being the most obvious. High Puerto Rican turnout. The more progressive Latino groups, 40% of the Latino electorate in Florida will be neither Cuban or Puerto Rican. And it's a hodgepodge of, you always hear about the Venezuelans, but the reality is I'm más votante Dominicano in Florida than the Venezuelans. And there's a whole lot of them. There's 80,000 Peruvian voters, there's 100,000 Ecuadorian voters. Nobody ever talks about the Ecuadorian vote or the Argentine vote or the Colombian vote, but they're just as significant. It all adds up, right? So, we all know the outreach for Democratic outreach and Biden's outreach for Latinos could have been a lot better. Let's keep it real. They hired some excellent people late. They came out with good policy proposals late. And the overall outreach is just beyond Biden, because he had to run a primary. The Democratic Party, when Trump was starting to start this nonsense for a couple years on Facebook, feeding the Cubanos and the other people this nonsense, we didn't have a counterpoint on that until recently. So it's going to be a challenge, but obviously a lot of our people are doing great work, including my colleagues at Unidos U.S. Action Fund. We had 100 canvassers out in the street today, both in South and Central Florida. And there's a lot of great organizations. I can't name all of them. A lot of our friends are doing great work down there. So if Florida were to flip, a lot of that would be large black turnout. A lot of that would be seniors that have flipped on Trump because they don't want to die, and they see that this moron does not handle the coronavirus situation and is putting them in harm's way. And, we hope that, this non-Cuban Latino vote can be significant enough to help put Biden over the top. Bottom line is, though, if Florida stays with Trump and those southern states like Georgia and North Carolina stay with Trump, we got a nail biter of Pennsylvania, because he can't win it without Pennsylvania. but then we're, it's tight. It's tight. So this is going to be very competitive. Again, I don't want to give no predictions. We're not going to know some of the final results for a few days. I don't think it's going to take weeks or anything. Arizona is another state that, again, it could end up being a Southwest state could end up being there's scenarios where it comes down to them, and they may take several days to give you a final result. So the bottom line is that those are the states y'all want to keep out for. Seeing the results in Florida, North Carolina, even Ohio, which Biden has a shot of winning, which would make this a whole lot easier. If one of those states, even just one of those three states, which is going to get called relatively early on Tuesday, Ohio, North Carolina, get at Georgia in that mix, or Florida, any one of those 1-4 states Biden can get, you can go to bed pretty easy on Tuesday. If he doesn't get any of them, and it comes down to votes in Pennsylvania in the next few days, then we'll have to sweat it. Unless we pick up Texas, which is a possibility. And again, that would be in large part because of minority votes and just the new Texas, people from out that didn't grow up in the state, more of a traditional urban, suburban lifestyle kind of people. Many of them move from other parts of the country, higher educated, they see what's going on. So that's my analysis. Obviously, the Latino vote in the obvious places like Arizona, Florida, and Texas, immensely important to get max turnout. And then states that aren't as obvious, including my beloved state of Pennsylvania, where even our 6 to 8% of the electorate, we can get it closer to 8, would make a humongous difference. So again, I implore my people, anything you could do to reach out to your cousins, your relatives, help them make a plan to finish voting if they already have their ballot in their hand. Get them to drop that chumpy off tomorrow. And at the very least, make sure they go vote on election day at the correct place. Give them a ride. Double check where they got to go, because some of the polling places have been consolidated. And, do everything you can. So you can go to bed knowing Tuesday night, ¿qué pasó? You did everything you could. This is it, fam. 4 years, and it comes down to this. It's been an incredible ride. Not that the show's over. We're going to continue doing this, but I do want to thank people that have encouraged us to continue the political analysis, that have appreciated our thoughts, the people that we bring to the table. We want to continue to do that. We want to diversify it, even bring more diverse voices from different political persuasions as this brand grows, and really continue these thoughtful conversations. Because at the end of the day, if you're down with trying to improve everybody's life, and you don't come at this with a mentality of if I get something, then you're not going to get something, and vice versa, and a mentality of abundance, there's plenty for everybody, fam. We want to break down these walls of division, these walls of hatred, is ideological polarity. We get to work, we can get this done. So Cecilia Huesca, our friend out in Arizona, the early vote in Arizona was flipping the state blue as the news was sharing the numbers last week. Cecilia, who I believe is in northern Arizona, Flagstaff, don't sleep on it. We got some people out there. Shirley Santos is just putting up prayer signs on her birthday. She just lighting candles, doing whatever she can. Happy birthday to you again, Shirley. Thank you so much for being a big part of this team. So, fam, just do everything you can. Nelly, got to give a shout out to our great friend, Nelly Jimenez. Arevalo, una venezolana. Shout out to our friends, Fernando Torres and Adelis Ferro, who had me on the Venezolanos con Biden IG this past week talking that stuff. And we had a great conversation on our live stream Thursday with Representative Danilo Burgos and Councilwoman Maria Quiñones Sanchez. So we getting out here with this information, fam. I'm going to be on my man Tame Arts, Christian Rodriguez, who was on Bomba Live in June, his IG Live, because he's got a great network of men and young fellas in the urban community that follow him and are support him, because he's a hip hop impresario, graph guys, DJs, rappers, dancers, the breakdance guys, people that are in the hip hop community. So we want to kick it with them and tell them, look, we know you're getting a lot of mixed messages and a rapper over here and a Facebook post over here. We got to give you the truth and give you the real deal in our perspective before you make your decision to vote on Tuesday. So I'm going to be with Tame Arts tomorrow night on his IG Live. So we're doing everything we can. All I'm asking y'all to do over the next 48 hours is do all you can, because that's all we can do. Thank you again so much for being part of this journey. Thank you. I apologize for my little technical glitch, and several of you hung in with me. I really appreciate that. And I hope this gave y'all a little more clarity on how we should approach the next few days, and gave you some things to think about on both sides of the aisle, because we got, one way or another, ain't none of these people deities. They're all just human beings like the rest of us, but all of us need to get more involved, including people I don't agree with. You got to get your perspective in the mix. Start organizing people around your vision, and hopefully we can. That'll make all of us stronger in our arguments and in our organizing and the work we need to do to bring people together. Thank you all so much for watching and listening to this edition of Found Translation. We try to stack it truth is the truth that we have, and try to keep it real for y'all, and most importantly, give you accurate information so you make your own decisions. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the Eagle game. Go Birds. Even my Cowboy fans can enjoy the rest of the game, because we need y'all to come out and vote in big numbers and turn it out down in the Southwest. Thank you all so much for joining us, and happy voting. Scorpio season has arrived.